welcome to the Onside Kick. Ricky Widmer here along with Dave Oster.
Hey, guys.
And Mark Weber.
How's it going?
And we're here like we are every week. Well, I should say Mark's here every week.
Hey.
Because last week, me and Dave were not here.
That's for sure.
I'm like Big Ben Roethlisberger. You can't bring me down.
He was injured last year for the last time. Mark seems to forget that Big Ben actually gets injured.
He gets injured, but he keeps going. He never stops.
He's the Energizer Bunny.
Yeah, pretty much. He is the Energizer Bunny, and he will never stop. You can break his ankles, both of them, and he'll still be out on the field.
I think you're putting a little bit too much stock in.
He's the tank.
He's not Frank the Tank, but you're putting a little bit too much stock in him. Got a jam-packed show. Going to be talking about some baseball, NBA free agency just for Dave, and then a little NFL. We're going to start our weekly division previews. This week will be the AFC East. But guys, in baseball, it is the midseason. By the time this podcast, we air it, it's midseason in baseball. And the first thing I just want to ask, Pui, he's not an all-star. Freddie Freeman beat him out.
Yeah, he may beat him out on the vote, but somebody's going to get injured, and I'm pretty sure we'll see a Puig sighting at the game.
Puig's injured himself, though. He hurt his hip. He had to leave a game early. He left in the fourth inning. So, I mean, that might not be that big of an injury, but maybe it's going to be enough to keep him out. Maybe it's just a coincidental injury of, I was injured anyways, so I couldn't have played. Yes. Not to start the conspiracy
But
theory,
I mean, like, if I'm a Dodger fan, if you're a Dodger fan right now, he makes his debut early June. Do you really want him playing in a game where some people say, you play in this game and then you just fall off in the second half?
No. If you're a baseball fan, you want to see Yasiel Puig play in this game. It's basically a giant exhibition game.
No, I'm not saying baseball fan. I'm saying if you're a Dodger fan, do you want to see him in this game and then
the risk level of an All-Star game is very, very low. I know it's gotten a little more serious in the last couple of years now that they've tied on the game advantage, the home field advantage to it.
Mm-hmm.
But I still think that the risk level is extremely low. And I mean, the fall off is usually for the guys who are in the home run derby. In my personal experience, I see those guys because they change up their swing and then something's just not right about them when they come back that second half of the season. I think all-star players, not as big of a transition.
And you just want to show off this new player. You got this new gun. It's the new tool in the tool belt. You want to show it off. You want to say, be scared of the Dodgers, because the Dodgers are a team that have a lot of people thinking they should be good by now, and it's not working out. So give something for them to show off.
Well, Puig has pretty much carried them back into relevancy. They were a bad team, underperforming on pretty much every level.
Well, they were bad in a already bad division.
Yeah, which helps a little. But he is pretty much, since his start, their record is absolutely amazing. And you can pretty much directly relate his absurd amount of offensive power to this team. And then other guys start performing because they see him doing better. It's just a chain reaction. It rolls.
Well, I mean, if you look at it, you brought up their record. They're right at 500, 46 in the wins and the loss, 2.5 behind Arizona. And it's like, you look at this division, and yes, they probably would have been, I would say, where the Giants are at 42 and 50 without Puig. But it's like, this is a division where it's like, the Dodgers can still kind of limp their way into an NL West championship by the end of the year.
It's the rally division. You know this one's going to come down to the very end, and we see it, with the San Francisco Giants. They make a rally at the end of the season, and what do? They win a World Series.
Well,
Absolutely.
You, Mark, were saying that you have a problem with the Giants this year at the midway point?
I do, because you go win that World Series, and yeah, you rallied your way in there, but it was such a great performance at the end, and now you're just this completely mediocre to bad team. It's just a huge disappointment to see. You don't want to go from first to worst, but they're getting pretty close to it.
I don't think anyone could be worse than the San Diego Dads.
Yeah, it's a little scary. But does anyone actually think Arizona's for real in this division?
I don't know. I'd like Arizona, to me, is a team where it's like they want to be for real. But for me, I mean, the loss of Upton, I was thinking that was like a death sentence for this team. And just being at the top of the NL West, shocking in my eyes.
It definitely is, but this is, like we're saying, this is the rally division. This is the division where it comes down to the very end. I don't think that they'll hold on. Honestly, if Puig can continue to perform offensively how he has, he can even afford to have a little bit of a fallback and
You don't mean he
still
doesn't need
be
to hit
one of the
400?
best. Yeah. He can go down to 300 and it'll be okay. The Dodgers can still win this division.
Well, I'm just going to throw it out there. Playoff team. We're at the midway point right now. Who's your playoff team when it comes to the end of the season? The Dodgers or the Diamondbacks? If you had to choose one.
Dodgers.
Yeah, it's definitely the Dodgers.
I'm sorry, I haven't seen enough of Arizona to be willing to commit to them as a team that's going to, I mean, even the second half of the season, I'm not sure that they're going to be at the top of this division. Like you said,
I think
with
they
the
can
Dodgers
hang
coming
on
along strong and the possibility of the San Francisco Giants turn this season around.
See, I don't think the Giants are not going to do
sticking a
anything
fork in 'em?
special. Yeah. I feel like it's going to be at the end of the season a two-team race between the Diamondbacks and the Dodgers. And if Puig can play like he has been all season, Dodgers are an easy win. But otherwise, I think Arizona hangs on for a one-game win in the West.
It's a ballsy call.
But moving on, different division. We'll stay in the National League. Surprising at the midway point, the Pirates over 50 wins.
Not too surprising.
Over 50 wins. Them
on.
just getting
They
over
were
being the
very
first
good last
team.
year for the first half of the
being the
season.
first team to 50. Let me put it that way.
That is, I mean, yeah, but come on. Last season we saw a glimpse of this team performing extremely well. They had a
Before
really
the
hot-
All-Star break.
Exactly. They had a really hot first half of the season last season. They just completely cooled off in the second half.
Are they going to fall off the same way?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I have
you
more faith
want
in
to
them
say
than-
so.
I have more faith in them than Arizona.
I'm going to go with that they're going to fall off again. I've been saying it for so long, Ricky. You know I have. I don't believe in the Pittsburgh Pirates. I don't believe this is the real team. Maybe in a few years they can be a real competitor, but no, not right now. They will fall out after the All-Star break.
You think Cincinnati's going to overtake them for the 2 spot?
I don't think so.
I think they will.
To me, I feel like the Pirates they feel like they have this team, and the team knows we have sucked for too long. And they're sick and tired of it. They're feeling a streak. Will they overcome the Cardinals? Maybe, maybe not.
No.
Depends on the Cardinals. To me, are a team where it's like they can look like the best team in the NL, and then the next night look like a mediocre team.
I'm sorry, the Cardinals, until proven wrong, they are the juggernaut of the NL. I just can't count them out.
I mean, I could see that. To me, the top 2 teams in the NL this year are the Pirates and the Cardinals in no particular order in my mind.
Really?
But I
you got
mean,
Atlanta down below?
Third. I got them third. Just because of a team like Atlanta, you bring the Upton brothers to Atlanta, and at the midway point, you're 3 wins behind the Cardinals.
Yeah, I mean, they start off hot, but the hitting went down a good amount for the Uptons. The thing I like about Atlanta is their pitching, though. I know it seems like ever since I started watching baseball in like the 90s, it was like, Atlanta pitching, but it's true. They got really good pitching. Their hitting has this season, like you said, they made additions to try to bring some more offense to that team. I like this Atlanta team.
Well, and I mean, the one thing that I think that helps Atlanta, because we kind of moved over to it, Washington to me has kind of seemed like they want to be good, but they're just that mediocre right now. The Phillies have fallen off from what they used to be. The Mets are like, oh yeah, we got Harvey, but you're still 11 games back of the
They've got 2
Braves.
pitchers for the future.
And then
That's
it's
it.
like you have Miami, where it's like, oh, you want to go to the Carnival tonight?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure more people attend, a restaurant than Miami Marlins games.
I think my issue that I have with Washington is I think everybody gives it more hype than it deserves because of Strasburg. You just have Strasburg, and that's kind of the thing where he showed up and everyone thought
Strasburg and Harper.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is the added bonus. But I view it as when Strasburg got there, everyone was like, Washington's going to get it done. They're going to get it done in 3 years. And
last year was their year to get it done.
I could agree with that.
If they didn't pull Strasburg, they would have had a chance.
I think that the only problem with that is I think Strasburg would have gotten hurt, obviously continuing on, and that would have ruined it. I really think a big injury like that's one of your main guys would have ruined your season.
But do you really think that the Nationals are going to be as relevant as they were last year in the playoffs?
No.
In the future with Strasburg, are they ever going to get to that point again?
In the future, they
I don't
can
think
be,
so.
but it's going to take a few years. Because right now, I think they're relying too much on just this hope that your pitchers are going to get you all the way. I think they've got to do a little bit more building of that team.
See, I feel like last year was their year. And they pulled Strasburg. I understand why, because of his shoulder. You don't want him to be hurt. He's the future of your team.
But that's their own fault. They should have balanced it
But
more.
at the same time, I feel like, hey, you know what? We used to be the Montreal Expos. We used to suck. We still suck. Let's go and win it now. And if he gets hurt, he gets hurt. That would be my mindset if I was in the front office of Washington, because I want to win.
Baseball isn't like football. It's not win now kind of a thing. They're like, we got to set the plan in motion. Come on, you know, that's your Cubs fan, 2015.
Well, yeah, but I mean, you got to think, before Theo, it was just, with the Cubs, it was just suck after suck
How about
after
next
suck.
year?
Yeah, and it was a how about next year where it's like, let's just take our minds off of now.
It seems with baseball, you need more planning of a team. Like, you need to assemble an entire team in order to get this going. Or you need to have like a magical role at the end of the season.
I get that, but it's like, I felt like they were putting too much, like they were putting all their eggs in the future, when it's like, baseball's a sport where just because you made the playoffs last year doesn't mean you're going to make the playoffs the year after, or 2 years after, or 3 years after that.
Well, there's issues beyond just your team on that one. You have players or teams that have big money going out and picking out your farm system. You got issues like that I think contribute to that.
Like, I mean, we've been talking about the division leaders, but looking at the NL, I don't know about you guys. Pittsburgh and Cincinnati, I harped a little bit on Cincinnati that they're not going to catch the Pirates, but I will say, Pittsburgh and Cincinnati, your wild card teams at the end of the year.
I would probably buy into that as well. It just seems like when you look at the NL, those are like that division, the top three.
Yep.
Is
all
probably
above 50.
Like
all
they're
above
probably
50
the top
wins.
5 in the entire NL. So I think it'd be hard to see them skipping out on the wild card slots.
And then moving over, we'll move over to the AL. I mean,
if you want to.
Honestly, the only thing I'm looking at is with the Central. I'm surprised Cleveland's even 2.5 back in second place. And then you got Oakland in the West. They're leading it right now.
Why would Oakland be leading it be a surprise to you?
I keep, maybe it's just me, but I feel like the Angels, they're adding. I want to see this Angels team be what they're
throwing on
see what they are on paper.
But people aren't producing on the same level as they were when the contracts were thrown down.
I'm just saying.
That's the biggest thing. It's like you can go out and spend money for all of these known guys who have done things, and then you give them the money, and they're like, I got the money, I don't give it anymore.
I want to
perform.
I want to see the Angels team that we expect to see, that we see on paper. I want to see that on the field.
And instead, we've got this Oakland team who is underpaid, bunch of younger guys. Well, minus Bartolo Colon, who's pitching with crutches.
Yeah.
Or, I'm sorry, with a walker. Guy's 40 years old and still throwing. Hey, I mean, honestly, if I can, go out, have a completely busted up body, go take a bunch of steroids, miss a season, that's my only penalty. I can still pitch at 40. Yeah, sounds good. Sounds good. If that's the only recourse I get for that, why not?
I think other than that, their oldest player is Coco Crisp.
Probably, yeah.
Right? Because, I mean, I'm looking at their roster, and
it's a good young team.
It's just, and especially when you got, I'm going to compare him to Puig, except he started from the beginning of his rookie season. You got Espedas out there being, I would say, the leader of the young guys in Oakland.
Are you expecting to see a Moneyball situation here? The movie just came out. The team gets picked apart. I'm expecting it. And next season,
are you asking me?
Afterwards.
Are you asking me if there's going to be a Moneyball 2? Is that what you're asking me?
No, we're asking if you think that in the next 3 years this team will have all of its talent removed because of a whole lot of contracts getting paid off.
I mean, I'm looking at it and no.
You think Oakland's going to pay up for talent finally?
I think they have to.
Is it because of Moneyball? Because the movie it's been exposed?
No, it's because of, I think Oakland's finally realized, they're that team they've been so far to, it's like that person we know where it's like the iPhone comes out and it's like, no, I'm gonna still rock my flip phone. And then like 10 years later, they're like, I guess I'll get an iPhone 3. Yeah, Mark, I made a you reference.
That's me. Well, I mean,
Defend your choice, Mark.
Hey, you know what? When it comes to technology, it's scary.
That's the A's are. They're just coming around to that, what baseball is, where you want to win a championship, throw down the money, and you have to keep your talent in there. I mean, did it work out for Minnesota right now? Not really. I mean, they kept Joe Mauer.
Yeah, but they lost all of their talent when it comes to pitching. And they've lost a lot of their farm prospects have been dished out. So, honestly, at this point, Minnesota is just like, it was just a giant farm system for teams with money. And that hurts me to say as a Sox fan who has a worse record than them.
Yeah.
Because what does that make us? Garbage.
But I mean, do you guys think, I'm just going to throw this out there, Oakland, do you think, can you say confidently that at the end of this season, come September, they will be the AL West winner?
I can't, because Texas is right there with them. Right now, they're one game back. And Texas has all of the talent, all of the money.
All the pitching.
All the pitching. I mean, Texas just seems like a complete team. I think Oakland is a very good team. And they did a phenomenal job last year, and so far this year they're doing a great job as well. But I just think Texas has the been there, done that experience, and when it comes to crunch time, I've got my faith in them, and I love what Yu Darvish has been doing.
Well, one thing I just want to throw out there, AL East, this is a division where I'm going to be totally honest, the Yankees, Jeter comes back, he gets a little quad tightening, he's out, he's not going to play, we're not going to see him in the All-Star game.
Yeah.
And are you guys kind of surprised that the Yankees, 6 games back, they're pretty close to almost being last if it wasn't for Toronto?
They're still 51-42. It's absolutely ridiculous. This AL East is just loaded with talent. The thing I'm actually surprised about is Boston being the top team at the halfway point. I know, like we said, top team is 58-37.
After the Valentine fallout.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great turnaround for this team, but I mean, you got Boston, Tampa Bay, and Baltimore, then the Yankees, all packed in that.
And you got Baltimore being fueled by Chris Davis.
Yeah, which I have no faith in him. I think he's just going to fall off in the second half.
You don't think he's going to reach this home run plateau that everyone's saying he's going to get to?
I don't. I think he'll fall off at the halfway point. Go ahead, Mark.
Something I find interesting with the East is Toronto, the team that tried to pay for their championship. They tried to pay for the pennant.
They're in the worst position.
It's not getting done. And it's funny, too, because this is such a good division except for Toronto. Toronto's the one that everybody's beating up on, and they're all kind of using it to, I don't know, keep themselves in the running for the winner of this division. It's just kind of, I don't know, it's a shame when you see all those contracts go out, you see how badly they tried to do the immediate right now kind of victory.
Well, here's the thing. They went out and their big pickups were R.A. Dickey, an old pitcher, and Mark Burley, an old pitcher.
Both have well over 4.5 ERAs.
And both these guys have done their fair share of innings in the past already. So I think, you're going out and paying for old arms. I understand R.A. Dickey had a phenomenal season last year.
NL.
But yeah. It was in the NL. We've seen what happens when pitchers go from NL to AL and AL to NL.
Burley was the same thing. I know he played in the AL, but where did they get him from? The Marlins, who's in the NL.
He didn't even have a fantastic year last year. He had a solid year. He's a 200-inning guy. That's his thing.
But it's like, with me, I feel like more Burley than Dickey. With Burley, I feel he's getting to the point in his career where it's like, just be an NL pitcher because... I mean, I'm going to say this, the AL bats are way better than the NL bats.
You face an extra batter every time, every roster card. So
except for a pitcher where it's like...
I don't count him as a batter.
Unless it's like a guy like the only pitchers, and this is me coming from a Cubs fan, the only 2 pitchers that I know that could at least swing the bat where it's not like an easy out, Zambrano and Samardzija.
I mean, you saw what Zambrano did to that Gatorade cooler. That guy can swing a bat.
He can hit a few home runs too.
After, I guess, if he's done with the Gatorade cooler.
But I mean, getting back to Toronto, I feel like it was win or bust. It was at least get a wild card spot or bust, and they are busting, and I would not be surprised if there's a fire sale this offseason with them.
I mean, but they don't even have, they've got a couple guys. They got Batista up there still. They've got Cabrera, and...
Arancibia. The catcher?
Yeah, JP Arancibia. I just don't see it. They're going to sit on that because, okay, their pitching's old. They need to go out and get new pitching. So maybe if they can get rid of some of those, they're not going to rid of Batista, but they can trade off somebody to get some pitching prospects. And that's their only hope, honestly, going forward. There's no chance that they're going to keep up with anybody in this division unless they go out and get young pitching.
I wouldn't call it a fire sale right now. I think that you do have to get rid of one of your young guys, though. You have to get rid of a young guy to get some, maybe not exactly pitching prospects, but to get some young pitching. Because, like we're saying, Burley's going to be gone soon. Dickey's probably not going to last around that much either. So you have to replace it. And Toronto, it's another one of the failed experiments. We see them every now and then. Not everybody can be the Miami Heat and just buy 2 championships. Or in the Yankees' case, just buy a dynasty. They tried and it failed.
Well, I don't know about you guys. Last thing I want to bring up about baseball, Chicago-wise, I just want to get your guys' reactions. You guys are the White Sox fans. I want to... Thornton traded from the White Sox to the Red Sox. You get a minor league outfielder. What are your reactions?
Whoop-de-doo. He was washed up pretty much at this point. If you look at Thornton's career, it started off fantastic. He was a fantastic set man for Jinx. We had that shutdown 8-9 inning, and then it turns out, we get rid of Jinx. Oh, Thornton was amazing in set role. We'll just move him back to the 9th inning. Something about that mentality. He just choked. He couldn't handle that pressure. His pitching style didn't really change. He just started giving up runs like crazy. He showed it was very clear he can't handle that. So we tried pushing him back. Go ahead, sure, be a setup man again. And then he's like, no, he's just lost whatever it is. He doesn't have it anymore.
And I really think that the change of scenery is going to be the big difference for him. He can't be a Chicago pitcher now because it's done. And for some reason, in this ballpark, he can't get it done now. And he can't get it done for this team. So going somewhere else will be the only thing that works. And we basically traded him for a box of cookies.
Well, and one name that I've heard going out there, of course, we talked about the Chicago White Sox fire sale, but Rios. What would you feel if Alex Rios got traded sooner rather than later?
You know what? Rios is probably our most valuable person out there besides our pitching. I think if we got rid of Rios, we'd have to get at least 2 solid prospects back for him. I'm talking AAA pitchers who are going to be proven commodities. I would be okay with it at this point because
starting pitchers or relief?
Starting.
Okay.
I like what Crane's doing in the relief role. I know he's a younger guy, but I've got some faith in him. Love to see how he turns out. I think it'd be worth it to trade off Rios if we could pick up some pieces because right now we just aren't getting things done. And actually, even if we went out and got young bats, because honestly, right now our pitching staff isn't too bad. It's our bats that are bad. So it seems weird that we're gonna trade off our best hitter because we don't have enough offense. But I think we have to change our sights from going for a championship now and next year to maybe 3 years to, we got to shift our timeline a little bit because it's clear things aren't getting done on this team.
And it's kind of like the first thing I think of, especially as a Cub fan, it's kind of a different, you're saying trade an outfielder for pitching prospects. Look what the Cubs did early July. Trade a pitcher in Feldman who, as a Cub fan, I was like, you know what? This guy is going to be good. Is he going to be an ace? No, but he could be a 4 or 5 guy in our rotation. We trade him to Baltimore for what? Pitching prospects.
The point of the fire sale that the White Sox are in is that almost anybody is up for grabs. We got 2 guys who you can't touch. Can't touch Sale, can't touch Konerko.
Konerko sucks right now anyway. If you look at his last straight year of batting, his average has tanked so hard.
The Sox said that Konerko's not him and Sale are the only 2 untouchables, right?
And anybody else, give us the offer. We'll look at it. And I really think that's the place that we need to be. It doesn't matter who goes. You can't get attached to any players right now because expect that tomorrow any of them are gone.
I'm actually really happy that we brought up our AAA catcher to replace Flowers right now because Flowers just couldn't handle it. We put all our hopes in him, got rid of AJ, huge mistake.
You guys hoping that AJ was still back in the in the shy?
That would have been great. I could care less that he can't throw out Konerko trying to steal a base, but it doesn't matter because he has a bat. Honestly, right now it's just we're just in a giant hole when it comes to hitting. So we brought this new catcher. So far, he came up. I think in his first 3 games, he had 2 home runs. He's got some potential. I'm all for trying to go younger. Let's go ahead and get rid of. Honestly, wouldn't mind getting rid of Alexi. No more heart attacks for us.
Alexi.
God, I could live without that. Beckham's been back for a while now. He's starting to pick up pace again. I still am not too confident in him playing second. And our outfield is just underperforming other than Rios.
What about, I'll throw 2 names out there. What about either Viciado or De Aza?
I mean, we thought both these guys would be like cornerstones of our team pretty much. And just batting-wise, they aren't getting it done. They're decent fielders. But like I said, we need more bats.
Besides Sale, are there any cornerstones on this roster right now?
I think Peavy's still a phenomenal pitcher, and like I said, he's getting things done.
But he's a tradable one, though.
Yeah.
I think he could be your cornerstone. He could be a foundation, but he's not somebody that you can't get rid of.
Or is he going to be a guy where a team that's in a playoff push goes, oh, we need a quality fifth starter, fourth or fifth guy. Oh, let's see if we get Peavy.
Well, yeah, Peavy was our number 2, and right now he's performing like a number 1. So, yeah, I could definitely see a team going after him. And the thing is, his contract is manageable at this point, too. So it wouldn't be too hard to pass him off.
Well, it's a lot more manageable than the north side. The outfielder that they're talking about trading in Alfonso Soriano.
Yeah.
Deals get close, and then it's like, oh, well, there's this contract, this $18 million contract we got to think about.
Yeah, you guys are going to end up eating a lot of that to get rid of him.
I heard things with Soriano that apparently the Cubs and the Yankees were close. Nothing ever got done, and I kind of agree with you, Dave. I think that the Cubs are going to be eating Soriano's contract. The only way to get rid of him is to ride it out.
Yeah. But, you know, what are your thoughts on this Cubs team? Do you think they're going to try to make any other moves up until this trade deadline?
Well, I mean, at first I didn't think that the Cubs, and it's stupid of me, I didn't think that they were going to make many moves. The moves that they made at the beginning of July surprised me because, like, 2 of the guys that we give away, Feldman and Clevenger.
Yeah.
I like Clevenger as a backup catcher, and he can play first base if we need it. If we need to give Rizzo or LaHare in the future a rest. But you got to think at the same time, look at what Deanna Navarro has done. I know the only game that I went to this season against the White Sox, he hits, 3 home runs against the White Sox?
Don't even bring that game up.
And Feldman, Clevenger, I like. We get pitching prospects and 2 international signing bonus slots from Baltimore. So it looks to me like Theo and the Cubs want to go pitching prospects and do the same thing that they did with now the injured Fujikawa. Get some more international players over here. Because that's the only thing I can think of with these 2 signing bonus slots for international players.
You got to broaden your horizon sometimes to see if there's any talent out there.
But I mean, the trade for Marmal was great. I mean, I could still see Garza being traded in July.
There's been a couple teams looking at him.
If a team pushes and the Cubs think to push the button, then he's going to be traded. The one thing that I will say, though, that I'm excited for next year, and I know a Cub fan talking about next year, but the third baseman we signed from San Diego, Chris Bryant, he signed to a minor league contract, but don't be surprised if he's playing in the majors sooner rather than later in 2014.
All right, now let's kick it off into NBA free agency. This is getting to be a little bit interesting now because we've got Andrew Bynum being picked up by the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now, I think this is a huge addition for this team. They didn't have a down-low presence, and I know, big risk, but actually, I don't even know if it's a big risk because the money in the contract that they've been discussing, not a whole lot's been guaranteed. It's a lot of performance-based incentive. Can
I throw out another name that they didn't sign Bynum, they didn't introduce him, but one name they did introduce, Jared Jack. $25 million deal. He's going to be coming over from Golden State. Another great signing for the Cavs in my mind.
Yeah, big physical guy who can knock down shots.
Knock down threes.
And honestly, this team is starting to get pretty impressive. And I think Kyrie Irving has got to be loving it right now.
Well, and I mean, it gets to the point where I feel like the Cavs, they learned from their, I'm going to say, mistakes. And that mistake was LeBron James. And they think about LeBron James. Who was the biggest free agent that they brought in his contract year? Shaquille O'Neal. An aging Shaquille O'Neal.
Yeah, come on.
And I mean, Bynum, his knees, you can say that he's closer to that age of Shaq because of how bad his knees have been.
Bynum's a young guy.
But Bynum, healthy, top 2 center, right behind Dwight.
Absolutely. And I mean, the fact that you were the only team to outright offer him a contract, it's kind of impressive. I understand that the 76ers have got to be like a lesson for the rest of the league. It's like, don't go out and throw this guy guaranteed cash because he sat on the bench whole year and then messed up his knee bowling. The thing is, it all comes down to the health of the knees. Huge upside, though.
The only concern I have with Bynum is his maturity.
Really? I'm absolutely horrified of his knees because people are saying, some reports say that it's degenerative and it will not get any better. I mean, he'll have maybe 1 to 2 more years where he's able to play fully, and then after that, he could be toast.
You threw out, how did he hurt his knee?
Bowling.
Oh, bowling. I'm sorry, if I have a knee injury, I'm not going to be doing. I mean, I'm not saying you can't go out and have a little bit of fun, but don't do anything that's going to hurt your knee more. Because I'm thinking, if you hurt your knee bowling, you're probably screwing around a little bit.
I would go ahead and say we need to pump the brakes on Bynum because of those knees. It's not you were doing something stupid while you were bowling. You got hurt bowling. You're.
Bowling's a quasi-sport.
Yeah, this is an issue here. If you're getting hurt while you're bowling, those knees are not good, and they're not going to get good. They're not going to be better anytime soon, I don't think. And maybe he'll be able to play. Maybe he'll even be able to play a full season, but I highly doubt it. I have no faith, and I liked Bynum. I really like the idea of him going over to the 76ers. But I really, really have no confidence in him being effective in the NBA again.
Wow.
I don't know. I kind of feel like the reason why the Cavaliers threw a little bit of money at Bynum was because look at who they picked up #1 overall in the draft. A power forward, 6'8", Anthony Bennett out of UNLV.
Yep.
So it's like even if Bynum doesn't work out, they still have a big guy that they picked up from the draft.
And they've got Tristan Thompson already.
And they've got Sergei Karasev from Russia, a shooting guard, 19-year-old.
Yeah, this is a team going in the right direction at the right pace. I think maybe they sped things up a little bit because they're looking to get in the running to maybe tempt LeBron back to the city.
I wouldn't even say that. I would say more of, like I said, they learned from their mistake, and they don't want Kyrie being LeBron 2.0.
That's very true.
I'm not saying Kyrie would leave, but hell, if you're not gonna put the time in to get this team into playoff form, then I'm gone. I'm sorry.
I think they're a legitimate 8 seed, maybe even 7 seed in the East this year.
See, I don't know about that because I'm not. I'm not saying that they won't be a playoff team. I think they might even be a 6 seed because I remember me and you, Dave, when we were out on vacation, we were talking about the Detroit Pistons.
Yeah,
I think the Pistons with their move, they're an 8 seed.
See,
I mean, you got to go out and play the games.
I'm concerned how the pieces work together, though. On paper, it looks like they've got talent, but as far as how fluid that offense and defense transition goes and how they move the ball around, I'm not too sure. The pieces just don't seem to fit in my mind in Detroit.
I personally think that the Cavaliers can be a really good team, and I don't think that and I don't think that Bynum really does much for the team, but I don't think they really needed him. They were going to be in the playoffs without him, so adding him I don't think does much. I don't think it changes anything for this team. I would go ahead and say they can get in for the 7th seed and really compete, and they'll luck out because then they'll probably get to play the Nets, and they can do a better job against the Nets than they can against the Heat.
I mean, the Nets, I think a lot of people are dissing them for their move they made with the Celtics.
Why?
But I mean,
they now have one of the top starting lineups in the NBA.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, they could go out and play.
They can go game to game against the Heat.
What if they come out and just start booking it early on in the season, and they just get out to a huge record?
The only concern I have with the Nets, though, is their depth on the bench now.
Yeah.
Which, you got a bunch of older guys anchoring your starting lineup, and now what happens when they get tired? It's late in the season.
I'm going to compare it to the Bulls. Yeah, we didn't have Derrick Rose this season. Why were we a 4th team in the East? Because of the bench mob, because of how deep our team was.
Bench mob can get you a good regular season record, but starting lineup is going to win you a championship.
Yeah, exactly. Look at the Miami Heat.
The Nets, when it comes to playoff time, I think they're going to be hurt. They're an old team. I think they're going to be fatigued. I don't think that the chemistry is going to work, and I don't trust that Jason Kidd's going to be the guy to get it done.
The only thing that makes me want to believe you is the point that they have no bench, because I feel like Garnett, Pierce, their minutes are going to be big because it's like, who on this bench can give me a break?
Yeah, AK-47. Yeah, Kirilenko. They just brought him in this past week.
Washed up. That's what I'm saying.
He's
Washed
still
up.
a shooter. He's still a body on the floor. And let's be honest, I could care less, how old you are as a shooter. What did Miami just prove to us? 3-point shooting wins championships.
Miami has LeBron James.
Ray Allen,
changes the
Mike
game.
Miller, and Shane Battier
they would not
are
have even
old
been
shooters.
in the position without LeBron James carrying the entire team on his
But that's the whole
big-ass
point.
back.
The whole point is you need a star, you build a team around it, and then that team around it, they have to be able to provide everything that he can't do. And three-point shooting is what LeBron James can't do very well. I'll give you the fact he can make threes. No problem. He's done it before. But it seems like, when it comes to three-point shooting, there's guys way, way better than him. So they went out and got him, signed him to contracts. And that's what the Nets are like. We need a three-point shooter. That's what the Bulls just did. Went out and got ourselves a three-point shooter.
Several.
Multiple.
It's a staple.
They got lots.
Every team has now realized that, hey, if we need to go deep in the playoffs, we need that three-point guy. How bad did we miss Kyle Korver last year?
Not so much because, he can't play defense.
It doesn't matter if you can't play defense.
And
Do you
plus,
see the contracts they're signing these
I
three-point shooters too?
I feel like I didn't miss Korver because we had guys like Bellinelli that could knock down a three every now and
Bellinelli
then.
couldn't knock down threes.
He was
Yeah, he
supposed
could.
to knock down threes. He didn't do the best
He'd
job.
stumble through the lane and throw a basketball over his back and somehow it goes
why do you
in.
think he
That
got
was what Bellinelli
Why do you
did.
think he got a contract from the Spurs?
Because he's like a little Ginobili. He's the same exact play style as Ginobili. He'll throw his body on the line, he'll go into the lane, and he'll make plays.
We had Nate Robinson.
Nate Robinson.
Me personally,
okay. Despite the whole amazing playoff run, which was fantastic,
let's
then
put
he
it
went
this
back
way.
to normal Nate Robinson where he jacks up shots and looks like an idiot.
Yeah, but I'd rather have Nate Robinson than Kyle Korver.
Really?
Kyle Korver to me was a version of Steve Kerr.
Yeah, but that's fine. Steve Kerr was like a complete player, though. He could actually play defense.
Yeah,
Kyle Korver
Kyle
can just stand
Korver
in the corner and
couldn't.
nail threes all day.
But that hurt.
Teams need that.
That hurt us on defense.
It does hurt you to a level on defense, but their offense overcompensates for the defense. That's the whole point. Is it worth more to you to have that three-point shooter on the floor and maybe give up a couple of mid-range shots on the other team? Three's more than two.
To be fair,
I'm
going
just
off
saying.
of that point,
I'm just saying. I'm not missing Kyle Korver.
with Thibodeau, anybody's going to play defense, and they can be a crappy defensive player.
Except for
But
Teague, who can ride the bench because he won't play defense.
Yeah, that's one.
To be
I
honest,
don't-
though, did you have to play defense in Kentucky?
I wanted him to play on the
No.
team.
No.
If we're going to waste a pick on him, you got to play the man.
maybe he's going to play 2-3 minutes a game this season, and that's the thing about these. I'm going to be very interested to see if our draft pick this time, Snell goes out and plays more minutes than Teague.
I think
he will.
There's a
He has
guarantee.
to, right? So how much of a waste
Well, I
was
mean,
Teague?
Dave, you
Yeah.
said if I'm about the Kyle Korver thing. No, because look at Snell. Snell can hit threes and he can play defense.
Last year, I'm saying. How much did we miss Korver last year when we couldn't knock down three to save our lives?
Not
This
so
season
much.
was a waste, anyways.
Without
I
Derek?
know without Derrick Rose, there was not high hopes of us actually being able to win anything, but still, the addition of a three-point shooter last year would have been phenomenal. And we really missed that lack of three-point shooting. So, like you said, we went out and we picked up a bunch
now
of
we're
them.
kind of overcompensating.
That's
for it.
fine. If we stacked up with a bunch of three-point shooters, what happens when Rose goes in the lane? Wide open shots when he dishes it out. Boom.
Yeah, and I mean, one player that I'm thinking of that no one's brought up, Monta Ellis to Dallas.
Yeah.
Dallas trying to do something.
Dallas seems to be like that team that they're always like, oh, they got a ton of money. They can go out and get stars. Nobody wants to go to Dallas.
Yeah.
Nobody.
And I mean, the one thing I find funny is they sign Monta Ellis, and then their guard that they trade for in the draft, Shane Larkin, ankle injury. We don't know when he's going to be back.
See, I thought Ellis was leaving the kind of crap team that never got put together correctly to go play for somebody who could compete. And now he's in Dallas.
Unless Mark Cuban hit him up with a 4-year plan that he liked.
Well, Mark Cuban has been throwing down, I'm going to go out and try to get this guy. I'm going to go out and try to get this guy. But he hasn't been able to sign those big names. So the closest he's gotten now is Monta Ellis pairing with Dirk Nowitzki. There's still a whole lot that they need on that team in order to be a serious contender.
And that's what I don't understand. You could have gone somewhere that would have actually been able to compete. And maybe money was more important in this situation because you would take a bit of a hit.
Honestly,
if you're with
I
other
just think
stars.
getting out of Milwaukee is good enough for him.
Milwaukee isn't exactly a great
I mean,
town.
I can buy that.
I mean,
It's
yeah,
just-
you're a playoff team, but you got swept by the Heat.
But would you rather be a playoff team and have the ability to possibly build up, or would you rather go to this kind of team that's been falling off for a while now?
Well, you got to think that's the upside of the Mavs right now. Dirk's getting older. They've got older contracts that are extremely high, but they're going to be gone in like a year or two. So this is a team that has money to burn in the future. They just need somebody to go there, somebody to take that first step. I'll be a Maverick. Okay, now we got somebody. Let's try to get more people around him because they can't. I'm sorry, building around Dirk. Dirk's contract's going to go way down the next couple of years because he's going to be extremely limited due to his age. He's still a fantastic shooter, is why I think he can keep playing in this league. But this is a team that's going to have to build around somebody else. I think Montez is going to be the beginning of it.
You know what I just noticed? Funny coincidence.
Yeah.
Basically, the Bucks and the Mavs just traded O.J. Mayo for Montalis because Mayo signed with the Bucks. Ellis signed with the Mavs. Same 3-year deal. So it's like, basically, didn't they just trade Mayo for Ellis?
I just think that Ellis is going to spend too much time in Dallas waiting for them to build up this team that nobody wants to go to Dallas. And he's going to sit there, he's going to wait, he's going to get impatient, and he's going to leave again when he gets older.
That's 3 years from now.
Yeah.
Unless he demands a trade, which I don't see him doing.
But see, the thing is, you're going to spend 3 years with a player at a prime age right now. And then you're going to wait to where you're not going to be the main guy. Someone else is going to probably be the main guy because you're an older player who's going to be maybe coming off the bench for a young guy.
Yeah, I mean, they've got Sean Marion and Vince Carter taking up big chunks of contracts. So they really need to finish up those two or because I know they won't even reduce it. They're just at the end of their careers and big contracts.
Well, I mean, one name on top of it that I forgot about, they signed Jose Calderon. Used to be a Piston. So, I mean, maybe Ellis was like, okay, me and Calderon and Dirk can get it done with the young guys that they got in Leto and Larkin. But to be honest, I don't think that's a pitch anymore because Larkin's injured.
Well, it's not like done. I mean, it's just an injury.
When they say, oh, it's an ankle injury and we don't know when you're going to be back.
Well, it's hard to tell. I mean, he's a young guy. He'll be able to recover. I'm not too worried about that situation. I just think this team has to get rid of the old expiring contracts.
Is Dirk one of those contracts?
No, it's Marion and
Vince
Carter.
Sanity.
Yeah, I think they're both getting well over $10 million a year, so needs to be taken care of. I think Dirk, though, when he gets renegotiating contracts, there needs to be a cut.
All right, now let's move over to football. We're doing our weekly kind of previews of all the divisions, and we're going to start out over in the...
That's the kind of intro you're going to give it for the inaugural one, Mark?
You want to talk about Tim Tebow? We can talk about
I don't
Tim
want to
Tebow.
talk about Tim Tebow.
The most electrifying player in the NFL today.
We're going to move over to the AFC East, mainly to talk about Tim Tebow, but also to talk about Tim Tebow past.
Yeah. Past and future.
Yeah, past, present, and future. We're covering all the bases of Tim Tebow. But yeah, I think we should start with a team that, let's start kind of at the bottom. And let's go.
It's hard to pick a bottom team in this division, to be honest with you.
I was gonna say it's a toss-up for me between the Jets and the Buffalo Bills, but I'm gonna say let's start with the Buffalo Bills because they're a team that missed out on a lot of promise. Everybody was high on the Buffalo Bills. They thought the defense was just gonna magically get put together, and then everything would work out well. They had some great running. The run game was impossible.
Yeah, that addition, the switch up with CJ Spiller out there was fantastic. And I think they really need to start focusing on using him as more of a weapon than just a running back.
I think that would be a good idea if you can get him some passes and kind of... I mean, it's not really the mobile quarterback type of offense, with like read
Until
options
you
or
get
anything.
EJ Manuel playing.
Well, that's the question. Who's going to start?
Do you think Kevin Cobb has that starter job already, or do you think it's a toss-up?
It's an
Manuel's
open
job.
competition.
I think it's Manuel's job.
Really?
I think they might be saying it's a competition, but it's EJ Manuel's job.
I just find I find it hard to let's throw money at this guy and then draft EJ Manuel, where it's like Kevin Cobb's probably sitting there going, well, I thought I was the guy.
And I think that Kevin Cobb's been in that situation a lot of times, so he should be
Arizona,
used to it.
Philly, everywhere.
He basically loses the starting job everywhere he goes. I think that says a lot about Kevin Cobb, to be honest, and I don't think that the Bills are going to be that confident in him, and it's going to show in the preseason.
You know what? He could just be one of those guys who is a career backup quarterback, and there's nothing wrong with that.
And he's probably the career backup quarterback who has made the most money.
So far, he's doing a phenomenal job of getting those contracts.
Yeah, so he should not be that upset. I just think that EJ Manuel with Spiller, that's such a extremely dynamic 1 and 2. That option right there is going to be near impossible for teams to
And there's
stop.
just so much speed there too. And and on top of that, when he rolls out, you have the options of throwing to Stevie Johnson still. You got Chandler at tight end, and they added Woods as a wide receiver this year. So it's like,
yeah, but the one thing I want to see is I want to see the Stevie Johnson that I saw 2 years ago. I don't want to see the Stevie Johnson I saw last year. I thought
last year was a really disappointing year.
it was a down year
it's
for
not
him.
his fault, really. You have Fitzpatrick back there who can't throw the ball to anybody.
A few of them. I mean, Stevie Johnson has had a track record of getting a little bit of the dropsies every now and then.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, like you said, the wide receiver is made by the quarterback. You can't really be a phenomenal wide receiver without a quarterback. I'd say the only exception to that is Brandon Marshall. But
See, we say that, is it Cobb or Manuel's job? I think it's Cobb's job this year, and they're going to work with Manuel. And I know, first thing you're going to say, it's a win-now league, Ricky. But with Kevin Cobb, the Bills can still win. Can they win a Super Bowl? No, but they can win
I think
games.
Kevin Cobb can maybe get him 6 wins, but I
Yeah.
don't think Kevin Cobb will be in the league. He'll be a starter long enough to do that.
Well,
I think
he's
he'll
gonna
have
be
his job replaced halfway through this year.
Exactly. He's going to be a starter long enough so E.J. Manuel gets kind of acclimated with what the head coach wants him to do.
I see your point of view, but I just don't agree with if that's the way they played it out. I don't agree with the situation. If you're going to have E.J. Manuel in there, you might as well acclimate your offense to him right off the bat, so you're not having that midseason transition offense.
Maybe they don't care. Maybe they don't care about this season, but that would be stupid because it's a win now league.
This is the division where it's up for anybody. And I know it's a strange thing to say with Tom Brady and the Patriots,
But it's not going to be a great
anybody
year.
can take it.
Yeah.
Anybody can take it from Tom Brady.
Honestly, I'm going to throw it out right now. Dolphins winning the division.
Bold.
I like the idea, but the only thing I have against it is I don't think that. I mean, I just am scared of the sophomore slump, and I think that the Miami team is still kind of trying to figure it out.
Tannehill?
Yeah.
You want to know why there's not going to be a
Because of his
sophomore
hot
slump?
wife.
No,
She won't let
it's
him
not
have
because
it.
of Lauren
She won't let him
Tannehill.
Are
have
you
a
sure?
sophomore slump.
Have you seen her recently?
It's not because of Lauren
It's not gonna be no
Tannehill.
slump.
The reason why there's not
Nothing
going to be a big slump with Tannehill is last year rookie quarterbacks. We talked about RG3, Russell Wilson, Andrew Luck. Nobody talked about Tannehill.
A couple people talked about Tannehill.
Miami talked about Tannehill.
Yeah,
that's it. And I feel like Tannehill's going to come out. He's got a nice new shiny toy and Mike Wallace to throw to.
Yeah.
I mean, Reggie Bush isn't in his backfield anymore. He's got Brian Hartline back. I think this Dolphin team is going to be. I feel like they're going to win the division only because of the Patriot relapse.
The troubles Patriots are having.
Yep.
I like this Miami team. I don't think they're going to win, though. I think this division is, like you said, it's definitely up for grabs. I just don't see them doing it. I think they're going to be the third team in the division.
The third team?
Third team.
You still think the Patriots are going to win the division, don't you?
I think so, yeah. It's hard. Okay.
One thing about the Patriots I will throw out there, if he doesn't play week 1,
Yeah.
they will be the first team since the New Orleans Saints to start a regular season without their top 5 receiving leaders from the year before.
But it doesn't matter because you have Tom Brady. Tom Brady made a 5'8" guy look like the number 1 wide receiver in the NFL.
And he's in San Diego now.
Now they've replaced him with an injury-prone Danny Amendola. And at tight end, they stole a tight end from the Giants. A little revenge move there.
Yeah, and I mean that's gonna help them out a
He's a
little
legit
bit.
tight end. So you've got to hope that these guys, these normal backups, will be able to step up and play at a good level. And all you got to do with Tom Brady is just open up your hands. I mean, this man is the top quarterback in the NFL.
Just show up to play, and Tom Brady's going to make you a good receiver.
See, I mean, right now I'm looking. Danny Amendola, yeah, he's a poor man's Wes Welker, but I mean, Jenkins is technically your number 2 guy.
I already thought Edelman was the poor man Wes Welker. So
I
Amendola's
guess,
like,
but I mean, I'm
Amendola's
looking.
never gonna
I'm
be on
looking
the
at
field
this
long
wide
enough to be
receiver
Wes
core for the
Welker.
Patriots, and you know what I don't see?
what?
Someone who can take the ball deep.
They that didn't even work for him. They had Randy Moss out there, and they
You
couldn't
need
win.
every team needs one guy.
I don't think
that
that
after
that's-
you're going to Wes Welker over the middle, you can just launch it one
I
time.
just don't
I
think
think
that's
Jenkins can do
the game plan for the Patriots. They're very much based around this. Tom Brady can throw it to anybody. We're going to just line people up. We got two, and I know that we don't have them anymore on the Patriots, but there's two big tight ends to throw to. It's just this big
That's what they
situation
thought
of you
until
can do
the
it to-
Aaron Hernandez
Yeah,
saga.
you can throw to anybody, and anybody can kind of maneuver around. It's going to be based off those quicker, faster throws. They don't have that now, and that's why I think the Patriots are going to fall off quite a bit.
Yeah,
Besides the fact that defense still is not up to
That defense
NFL
is still
standards.
No, are you kidding me? This defense they've been adding pieces to it year by year. I think it's definitely much
but
improved.
one of the pieces that they added last year, he might not even play week 1, Alfonso Denard, because he got pulled over in Nebraska for a little bit of drinking.
Oh, drinking and driving gets you a slap on the
driving.
wrist in the NFL. Nobody gives a
He'll get a
Dude,
game.
the Patriots have been talking about looking into it, and they're talking about even releasing him because of this.
I can't see the Patriots going that hard course correction.
Especially because of the fact that Aaron Hernandez's little scandal way overshadows a DUI.
Yeah, DUI, shooting multiple people.
See, I think that the Patriots right now, they're in this kind of, because of the Aaron Hernandez thing, they're in this, we don't want bad stuff on our team. And yeah, DUI might not be as bad as murdering someone, but they're in this impulse mode where it's like, nope, something bad, gone.
But you got to look at their first two lines. I mean, their defense, just that up front line, you still got Will Fork, and you've got Nikovich, and then their linebackers are finally set. You got Mayo, you got Spikes, and you got Hightower. 3 very smart guys, pretty quick to the ball. I really like those front lines. The question is in the secondary. Akeem Talib came on midway through the season last year, did a pretty damn good job. It's just the other guys I got to still be questioning. That's my only concern with the New England Patriots.
See, I feel too, this Aaron Hernandez case, it's going to hang over the Patriots for most of the season. It's how can this team handle that?
Moving over to the rival of the Patriots, or the self-proclaimed rival
That's
of
a
the
good way to put it.
Patriots. Who's going to be the Jets' starting quarterback?
Geno Smith. That's who should be the starter. That's what I'm saying.
He should be.
He won't be.
Personally, I think they don't have a starting quarterback on their roster.
I think they do. Geno Smith is
Greg McElroy.
They tried
Really?
that,
McElroy?
maybe. And I just think that, I don't know, the Jets, to me, complete mess. The fact that they didn't fire Rex Ryan after last season proves that they don't know what the hell they're doing.
Even after he, this offseason, went running with the Bulls in Spain.
That guy's lost a lot of weight, though. Good for
running
him.
with the Bulls, as in he climbed over a fence. Yeah, that definitely happened. But I don't know. They don't have anything figured out. It's a team that does not have a game plan, and I think everybody's aware of it because they know Rex Ryan's going to be gone. We're going to get a new head coach in here next year.
You know what their
likely.
game plan is? Find a quarterback. And I
game
feel
plan is
like
The answer is Roll Tide.
the answer is not Roll Tide, Dave. The answer is not Roll Tide. I feel like Mark Sanchez will be your starter week 1, but this season, Geno Smith is going to take him over.
Yeah, I got to think this league right now, everybody's looking to try to get that new RG3, that new Cam Newton type player.
Yep, go to that
and
style.
right there, you got Geno Smith here, and we just got done talking about E.J. Manuel being the possible same thing up in Buffalo. I got to think this team, Rex Ryan wants to win now. I don't know how the man has a job still, I'll be honest with you. So I think he really needs to get something done this season. But you know what? I haven't heard him proclaim that they're going to win the championship this year.
You don't
No.
need to because Geno Smith did it on draft night.
Did he?
There you
Yep.
go.
I don't remember if he said Super Bowl or playoffs, but he said one of them, and they have to at least get into the playoffs.
But I said my division winner. I think it's going to be Miami this year. Who do you guys think division winner for the AFC East?
It's going to be a toss-up for me, and I think the Jets are a joke. I think that the Patriots will be in the running for a wild card spot, and I think it comes down between Miami and Buffalo.
Whoa.
Most likely going to Miami.
You going with the young
Nice.
guns.
I am going with the young guns. We're going to show off.
This is
some,
weird.
some
Someone actually
rookies.
agrees with me on a divisional winner.
I'm going to stick to the past. I got New England Patriots winning this one. But I will change my thoughts. After going through this whole division, I'll give Miami second in the division.
Do they make a wild card spot?
I definitely think they have potential to. I just don't want to give it to them. I don't want to do it. Not going to give it to them yet. I'll have to see how preseason goes. Convince me, Miami.
Well, that's going to do it for the Onside Kick this week. As always, tell us what you think down below about baseball, basketball, football. Make sure to check out our other videos and subscribe, hit that like button, do all that fun stuff. And as always, have a good day, everybody.